Sorry for my lateness.
Oh no, it's great.
I take pride in my punctuality, so I apologize.
That's true. You're not that late, are you?
I'm a little late.
2:45 is supposed to be 2. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm so fucking busy that I barely even noticed that you were that
Good.
late.
I shouldn't have brought it to your attention there.
No, it's great. Let's talk about Louisville. That's what I'm interested in, bro. Because back in the day, Louisville was like the mecca for us because they had the sickest skate park when I was like 19, and it was like brand new. And we were so excited to go there to ride that shit. It's huge.
I didn't know it was recognized on a national level like that. Like,
we were geeked up off of it because there weren't that many skate parks that had like really good ledges and shit like that back in the day.
The extreme park, huh?
You ever heard of this brand Shitluck? And there's like this company, Metal Bikes, that were both based out of Louisville too, and they were like really big BMX companies for us at the time. We were super into it.
Totally unfamiliar.
Damn, that was our. I totally understand that. That was our main like cultural reference point for Louisville at that time. But what was it like growing up out there? Talk to me about this.
Well, I guess growing up in Louisville, just to get right into it, I think a lot of people had this association with Louisville. It's in Kentucky. People think you're from the country. Anywhere in Kentucky, we're from the city. There's a million people in Louisville. I've harped on this before, and I'm gonna continue to harp on it because we're trying to get it up there. But a lot of people in Louisville feel kind of misunderstood because they're boxed into this sort of this Kentucky box of country.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is. So that's one thing I was actually excited to talk about up here because my experience of Kentucky is different from a lot of other Kentuckians because I come from a city. We got a downtown. There's different neighborhoods. It's totally urbanized. So
exactly, yeah.
There's a fly culture going on. Like Louisville's got a lot of upcoming artists right now. Like we're tapped into what's going on. Like it's not some backwoods experience.
But you do smoke backwoods out there, presumably, right?
Some people do.
Some people do.
Yeah.
Not you so much.
It's kind of a swisher capital. I'd say.
Swisher capital. Wow, that's holding them back, man. They got to graduate past that.
Nah, man, it's part of the culture.
You respect the swishers? Yeah. I respect anyone who respects swishers, given the fact that like these days they do get a little bit of heat when you got like Smoke Perk making a song talking about fuck swishers and shit. It's like, why? When did swishers become the ops?
I don't know. Apparently they're just horrible for you, huh?
Shit, I don't know. I'm assuming woods are just as bad.
Are woods bad for you?
Hell yeah, you said that big old piece of tobacco. It can't be good.
Yeah, I don't smoke. I don't be knowing.
So you just don't smoke at all?
I don't smoke.
That's cool.
I'll hit a blunt like every couple months just to see if I like it, but every time I don't like it.
Every time you don't like it. I feel it. How high do you get hitting the blunt once though?
Not too, but you feel it. I feel it a little bit. I've gotten high before and I don't enjoy it.
When I think about how much weed I smoke now and how smoking way less used to get me so high like 10 or 15 years ago, it's like, holy shit, my tolerance level has really built up over the years.
You think so?
Yeah, but it's like I had to get way too high.
You can't get blasted now? You can't get...
I mean, I could, but I'd have to go outside my comfort zone. I'd have to like smoke a ton of blunts, or I would have to like, if I took a dab, like if I took one dab right now, you're going to feel like, you're going to be like, I'm talking to this special needs motherfucker. Like, who is this dude?
For sure.
This isn't the Adam I was expecting.
Yeah, that's me. That's me instantly. I don't enjoy being high at all.
That's the weird part about it is you kind of have to just do it over and over and get too high to eventually learn to like it. But what's the point?
But you don't think there's a possibility that some people just ain't into it?
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying is that a lot of people that's just like probably doesn't match their personality.
It sounds like you're saying if I got high enough, I could learn to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think you would, but I don't think that there's necessarily a lot for you to gain from that.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
It's like that for any drug. Like, bro, if you did coke and you hated it, well, you keep doing it for a while, you're going to start liking it, and then you're going to not be able to stop doing it.
Fair enough.
That's just how it works. Damn. But okay, is Louisville like the only city in Kentucky that's like sort of more urbanized like that, or is that throughout the state?
Now we can give a little slice of that to Lexington as well. Lexington's got it going on. I mean, it's a big. There's a lot of Trump supporters in Kentucky, and I would say Louisville and Lexington are kind of the spots where there's a little bit less of that going on. You know what I mean? Like kind of more democratic cities.
That's crazy. It's got to be that's got to be like a straight culture war in like the down south sort of areas because there's probably so many people that are so pro-Trump, and then also lots of young people that are super anti, huh?
In a way. It's weird because it just depends on the world you live in, I guess. Like, to me, what I'm into is what I'm into, but you can step outside of that, and to them, the norm is whatever they're into. It's crazy.
When you see the Trump hat in Beverly Hills, it's shocking.
It's out here?
I mean, once in a while, I'll see a guy wearing one. Usually it's like a Mexican guy or something because I feel like they get a little bit more of a pass to rock it or something, but you'll see it once in a while, and it's like... I'm not the type of person that sees the Trump hat and gets mad or like assumes the person's a dick or whatever. I feel like I'm very open-minded to other people's opinions, but in Hollywood you see it and it's like shocking. In Louisville, I'm sure it's a lot more common.
Yeah, I guess there's a little bit of that. We walked into a Cracker Barrel. I'm on tour right now. We walked into a Cracker Barrel and almost ran into a dude with a big one on. So it's going on. It's out here.
It's definitely going down.
I wonder if he's going to win.
Yeah, I do wonder that. That's going to be crazy. We got a whole lot of wild shit coming up over the next year or two.
It's going to be interesting.
But, okay, so talk about you as a young man, like what kind of kid you were and stuff. I'm interested in how you completed the transition from adolescent to rapper.
So I'm from the Highlands neighborhood of Louisville, and anybody from Louisville kind of knows it as kind of a weird, diverse area. It's near the center of the city, and like you can run into kind of anybody walking down the street, just black, white, Hispanic. There's a guy that walks down the street with a snake around his neck. It's just like a very eccentric area, and like in the 90s, it had like a punk scene going on.
Every good city has a guy with a snake.
Yeah, type vibes, you know. So you can kind of imagine what type of area this is, but that's where I grew up. Real pedestrian friendly. Middle school, high school, I was walking around. So I think early on, I just got to meet a lot of different type of people. So that's kind of what it was for me, and it was right as hip hop was like becoming a thing, man. Like that's what it was. So
that's
I was
crazy.
rapping early.
Being just like living in that kind of area where you actually have a lot of different types of people who are just walking around the street, very like underrated thing for sort of building you. Like in New York, I feel like a lot of people really benefit from that, is that you're just constantly around other people. And a lot of people who live in the suburbs and stuff, people go to school or work and then they come home and then they fucking watch TV and they get scared of people that are different than them because they got the news telling them that everybody's evil and shit.
100%. Comfort zone gets to open up when you just are confronted by things.
Right.
Public school and all that. So
was there like a lot of cool shit going on culturally? Was a lot of like music and that kind of stuff in the area you grew up?
There's a lot of talent in Louisville. Like, fun fact about Kentucky, I don't know if this actually has something to do with it, but it has the most border states in the U.S. We're touching 9 states, so we get influence from a lot of different directions.
Oh, 9. That's
a lot
crazy.
of people like Detroit music. A lot of people like Atlanta stuff. So there's stuff coming in from all over.
Right.
Because it's kind of hard to pinpoint, like, what region would you put Kentucky in? It's kind of in the middle. So I think we have a culture of our own. You know, we got our own like tempos we're into. We got our own sort of thing we got going on. And like I said, there's a lot of artists starting to bubble now from Louisville and from Kentucky in general. So the culture's strong. It's never been this unified, I'd say, where everybody's kind of rolling together. And like when you go home, it's a party.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. It's like, I feel like you seem like you kind of grew up in the middle of a lot of different art and stuff. Like you never felt like an outsider.
Nah. I guess not. I never felt too displaced.
Because a lot of people like kind of just look at a white rapper and they assume that he's sort of attempting to get in on something else. But the way you're talking, it sounds like you sort of like grew up around so much stuff that it maybe didn't even ever seem weird to you that you wanted to rap. Or
exactly.
It didn't stand out to you as, because like if I had decided that I wanted to rap in like 97 when I was like going to high school, I feel like it would have been like a way bigger thing. Whereas I think you coming from like a younger generation and like a different way of thinking about shit, that it probably didn't feel that out of the ordinary for you.
It just was something I was passionate about. But even now, like I have enough perspective to realize why people are kind of still put off by it a little bit. It's not unheard of anymore, but people still will alienate you. I still walk into rooms and feel like, yeah, I'm white in here.
Do you feel like you have to prove yourself artistically to a level just because you want people to know how serious you are about the music?
I do. It gives you a little chip on your shoulder. I ain't gonna lie. Even gives you a small complex. Used to affect the way I used to make music.
Right.
I wanted to be that kid that could prove he could rap. Now it's kind of moving into a space where I just want to make good music.
Right.
And show people that I'm a whole dynamic person. I don't feel like I had to be this one type of artist. But early on, it was like, oh, this is how they treat you when you're white? I guess I got to do this to show them that I can really do this.
Right.
But definitely, it gives you a little complex, bro. Like, people treat you different.
That's interesting. But do you feel like you get love for the most part? Or like, do you feel like you're always kind of in a position of sort of showing people like, nah, I really am
for sure, because
what I'm putting out there?
Yeah, the shock value that comes with it is beneficial in the end. So there's privilege to it. And then there's, of course, like you feel like there's walls up. But then you look at Post Malone and it's like, come on.
How do you feel about Posty?
I respect him a lot. I feel like he's a good guy. He has songs I like too. So
seems like one of the best guys.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
You never hear anybody talking about he's a dick. And being that famous, I'm gonna be honest, it's pretty hard to not be a dick.
I can see that. It seemed like he comes from a grounded situation. So do I. So
he's still drinking Bud Light.
Yeah,
that's some shit. If you don't ever switch up and you just keep drinking Bud Light, I mean, he's probably making millions off Bud Light.
That's what I'm saying. I'll keep drinking for whatever they're paying him.
Exactly. What do you drink?
You know what's crazy? So I'm a Ciroc boy. I rock with Diddy. I'm all about my Ciroc. But these last few days on tour, I kind of challenged myself to let go of drinking a little bit. So I've been sober for like the last 7 shows.
How's that going?
Feels great.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like I'm tapping into something different. I don't know, like I'm going out on stage. I think for a while there, it was becoming a bit of a crutch to go on stage and get that auto confidence off the liquor.
But is that what you're doing? Like banging a couple shots before you went on stage or something?
No, I was getting faded. Like I was getting messed up
Fucked
before I go
up.
out. And I
Damn,
think the
really?
last straw was DC. I was gone on stage, and I felt like I did a bad show almost. Now the fans there, they keep DMing me because I be venting about this online.
Right.
They're DMing me like the show was good, don't worry about it. But I felt kind of iffy about it. So next day I did Charlotte sober, one of my best performances. So I was like, let me roll with this. And so I think I'm gonna finish the tour out like this. But to answer your original question, I'm a Ciroc boy.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Like, I feel like there's been times where I was drunk as shit, let's say, and I was like at somebody's show or whatever. And because I was totally out of my mind, I felt completely confident, like going up to the crowd and getting everybody all hyped and stuff. And when I'm fucking sober or when I'm smoking weed, that is so not like my personality to like run out on stage and get everybody all hyped up. I respect the fuck out of people like DJs and shit who that's what they do. They just go out there and get everybody hyped up and they can do it. They don't have to be fucked up at all, but they get the energy going crazy with the audience. I mean, that is such like an underrated skill.
I agree with you. It's like a switch you have to hit. The thing I've been enjoying about being sober is I feel like there's more control. Like I get kind of mood swingy when I'm in a different state of mind. So when I'm just on that sober vibe, I feel like I can control everything and really tap into like doing a good job for the crowd, make eye contact, you know, talk to them. So I like it.
You don't sound like you have that like alcoholic gene where like some people, they just start drinking and it's over. Like they're just going to be a fucking alcoholic for life. Or were you ever like that?
Nah, I was never like that. In fact, I didn't even drink in high school. I was kind of late to the party. Atlanta's when I got introduced to even most of my vices. I think I'm just like self-aware, so I be trying to make sure I'm not going over the edge. You feel me?
Definitely. So what was high school like in terms of, were you recording or at least rapping from like a very early stage?
Yeah, everybody knew me as a kid in the city that rapped because I was passing out mixtapes and I was dropping songs online. It was mostly just bubbling in my hometown, but I was well known. Like people either liked me or they hated me. Like a lot of people thought I was a lame. Yeah, but I had it going.
But how did you feel about that? Did you feel like you kind of looked like a nerd or something and that you were like trying to just convince everybody like not? Did you have that confidence to just be like, nah, I'm not a lame? Like what was it like fighting against that?
100%. But it was another thing to give me one of those chips on my shoulder of like, you know, got to prove something. But I think I've always had like a certain level of like knowing who I am regardless of how people see me, even though I can still take it into account. But I knew in high school like I was tight. I knew I was fly. Like I knew what I had going on. I was feeling myself early, so it was cool. In high school, I enjoyed it.
That's the crazy thing about being a rapper. Like when you are starting from nothing is that it really is so much about like that confidence, even though you don't really have that much to be confident about. Like you don't have fans yet, like that many fans. You don't have like the money and the whatever that you want, but you still have to like go out there and exude enough confidence to convince everybody that you actually are capable of being this thing.
Yep. Just got your balls and your word. You're either that or you aren't. You just be feeling yourself, whether you do or not. But I totally agree with you. It's all about, do you really love yourself?
And that's the number one thing when I'm looking at new rappers when I'm on stream or whatever is like, do they seem like they really believe it? It's probably like one of the biggest things, even beyond just their musical ability and stuff, is like, do they seem like they believe or they're confident enough to really embody this?
That's the number one component. That's the number one thing. Sometimes I'll write something and I'll be in the wrong frame of mind, like whatever's going on, but I ain't feeling myself that day. But the bars on paper, hard as it gets, I go in the booth, spit it. You can feel in my voice that I don't mean what I'm saying. That happens to me. I make songs that ain't like that.
Really?
And you go in and you know. But then sometimes you're in that mood today, but it's like you said, it's all energy. It don't matter. The bars are second to everything. The bars are how you use your voice. Do we believe you?
Exactly.
Do you believe yourself? You can feel that.
And that's why everybody starts getting fucked up in the studio, like what you're describing when you move to Atlanta or whatever, is because you're trying to just recreate and recapture.
You're looking for an energy.
And yeah, to get it artificially. The problem is that it's subtracting the energy that you'll have the next day and that compounds upon itself. And all of a sudden you're fucked.
Yeah, it's a trap. But at the same time, you just are doing anything you can to tap into that magic that makes people say that.
And because we all know that there's Futures, there's Lil Uzis, there's all these people who, when you listen to their music, certain songs of theirs that you can tell that they were fucked up and that made the song better. 3 6 Mafia is like, I'm sorry, if they never did drugs, they might not have made a lot of that music. And, you know, it's like, we know that shit was inspired by that. So you can't blame rappers for thinking like, damn, I gotta fuck with, see what's up with this lean.
See, I don't even try nothing outside of the studio. Because that's where I want to find something. I want to tap into something.
That's the lab. That's where people end up experimenting. At least there's a purpose there. I mean, it's better than just like sitting in your house watching Sports Center.
Yeah.
So you're in high school, and how far, like when did you start to feel like it was really starting to come together? Like you were getting a fan base together? Was it happening online?
It was like a hometown thing completely. Everyone in Louisville was starting to know about me, but I realized I needed to keep it moving. So I went to Atlanta and got it jumping. Met Drama shortly after I moved, but me and my boy, we had actually gotten a job at Georgia State, but I originally moved down with my homie Urban, photographer, and my boy 2 for 1, my producer. So we went down there together and just went in. We tried to work, and we were down there with KY Engineering, and things just slowly came together. Like I said, I met Drama, and he said he wanted to sign me, put me in a better position since. So Atlanta is what I owe a lot of the changes to.
Right.
It influenced how I was making music. It introduced me to those horrible vices. It put me in this new space that I was never in Louisville.
Were you sure that you couldn't do what you were trying to do or make it in Louisville? Like I mean, almost everybody ends up with that conclusion that they got to go to LA, Atlanta, or New York.
It's funny because it's like, it's hard to say because the internet now, you can do it from anywhere. But there is an argument for just putting your face in another room. When I moved to Atlanta, I just started meeting producers and people that I had grown up idolizing and knowing about. You know what I mean? So it changes everything when you just are showing face.
Atlanta is such a place where you can just go there, and if you have any degree of like connections or whatever, you could easily start just bouncing between different studios and just meeting all these different people. It's like there's an insane energy out there. Out here, there is some of that, but it's also like, this is Hollywood. Like everybody's super business focused. There's labels out here. Like people are in their own sessions. They're working on their own shit. Atlanta feels much more
very accessible,
collaborative. Yeah.
Very collaborative and accessible. And it's 6 hours from Louisville. So we were just bouncing down there before I moved.
That's tight.
Atlanta changed things.
I went actually, like the majority of the time I spent in Atlanta was with Shoreline.
I remember that you were at Main Street.
Right. Yeah. And they were recording with like at Drama's spot. So is that how that happened? Like, did you end up going there to record one night and then you sort of start getting on Drama's radar?
So I was brought there to meet Drama.
Right.
You know, he'd be there. It's his studio, so he spends his evenings there. So when I came, I was introduced to him. And that night, he had me just record. And I was showing up. And then when I signed, I've been in there every night since.
Wow. So you just basically ended up making a song or two in front of him, and he was just sort of just watching you and like paying attention to you?
Not in front of him, but I like shook his hand, and then he like left the room, and then I recorded.
Right.
But we got cool just bouncing around being in the studio.
Right.
Yeah.
That's tight. What was the vibes like over there on average? Because Drama is like, he's super tight, but he's also kind of serious, huh? Like
so serious. I love it about him because I'm kind of serious too, and I feel like some people don't ever want to be serious.
Right.
And I like to joke around a lot, and you know, I'll be looking forward to showing that side of me to people, but also like I'm about my business too, and that's what I like about Drama is he's like so on it, bro. And he's such an artist. But me and him have gotten so close. I remember when I was 6 months into being signed to him, and I felt like I didn't really know him though. Like I didn't feel like we had like a real relationship. And I asked him to go to this restaurant, and the restaurant had these hors d'oeuvres that they were bringing out one by one. It was like one of those restaurants that brings out little tastes, plate after plate. It was whack to me, but he loved it. But we had a great convo. Like we just got super cool after that. And so I don't know. I look at him as like a legend, bro.
Yeah.
Like I hold him up there in that regard. Like I grew up hearing his voice on mixtapes, so I love having a relationship with Drama.